I'm Pete Skelton. I've been obsessed with bikes for more or less for as long as I can remember. I was born in Blackburn, but I've been all over the world really with my bike, and part of what I do today is like influenced by a trip that I did. Sort of back in 2018, I cycled to India, and on that trip I was trying to decide what it was that I wanted to do with bikes. Kind of turned out that making bikes seemed to be the right way to go. So, looking for places to learn the frame building from. I've done it a little bit in my dad's garage, but it's quite hard to sort of, take to properly when you've got no one to show you the ropes that's doing it on a daily basis. My dad had a little bit of input, but he'd not really done it since like 1985 or something, and even then it was minimal. So there was a shop in North Manchester called Butterfield Bicycles. Started working there a bit. On Saturdays, just volunteering to start off with. That was Neil Orrell's old shop, so he would come into the shop. At this point he's in his 80s. He still knew how to work the torch. He still had a lot to say, and a lot of sort of, a lot of advice. So that was quite good. I thought, a chance to work with Neil Orrell, one of like Manchester's renowned frame builders. I have all these, the things that I say when people say, "Oh, why did you choose the name Medusa?" And like sometimes I'll say stuff like, "Oh, well, it's because in the French Revolution, Medusa was like the symbol for like liberation, and I feel most liberated when I'm on my bike." But strangely, like the biggest sort of influence for it was I kind of knew that I wanted to paint my down tube lettering because of like my past as working as a coach painter and like an apprentice sign writer, and because like Medusa's not got any repeated letters in it, it would be easy to kind of get looking consistent. So that was like, strangely enough, one of the main kind of reasons I chose that name. I love making things. I've always loved making things. I'd always like, as a kid, like I'd be skipping doing my homework to be making stuff. It was always a better reason to be making something. And I love bikes. I've always loved riding bikes. So yeah, it kind of like goes hand in hand. And I've always thought that like whenever I would have a bike, off the peg thing from whatever shop I would get it from, or when I was working in bike shops, I would never buy a full bike. It would always be a frame, and I would always be trying to like build some like weird kind of like Frankenstein thing that would like tick boxes that I wanted to tick that like might not have really existed on like any other kind of mass-produced thing. So for me, it's a chance to sort of build a bike that I think needs to exist. I'll be displaying this bike at the Bespoke show this year in Manchester. Like last year, I got a runner-up prize for paint job, and at least I know that's one thing I'm sort of, I can do all right, to an okay level. I've not been building frames for very long, so like I'm sort of like, I'm not too like fussed about like trying to like build something that's going to win some awards, like as far as like design or like execution with like features goes. Even though last year I did win People's Choice for my gravel bike that I made, which I was pretty surprised about. I was fairly blown away by that. So, but this time I'm like, well, maybe I could try and win something. And so I was thinking, if I go and try and win like maybe something at least that's like to do with a paint job, then that'd be cool.